children, today we are going to start with chapter number 2, that is Plants, Food, Factory. So let's begin with the wonderful journey of the plants, that how they prepare their own food. Just like we have a kitchen as a food factory at our home, similarly, plants also have tiny kitchens inside their leaves, okay, through which they prepare their own food. So now let's explore it, okay? So in this chapter, students, we are going to cover these topics like what we have: structure of leaf, food process in plants, how do plants use the food made by them, the food production in some unusual plants, and the relationship between plants and animals. Okay, so students, first of all, they have given you some pictures over here. You have to put a tick mark beside the pictures of fruits. So first of all, let me explain you the chapter and then you can do it on your own. Okay, see. So students, we have the different types of plants around us, right? We have a wide variety of plants in our nature. Okay, the plants play a very important role in our lives. Now, what does plants do that we can say that they play a very important role? See, plants are the main source of our food. The food which we get, the most of the food items which we derive from the plants only. Okay, plants also provide us food and oxygen to breathe. Okay, they also provide us food, fruits, clothes, and with that we get wood for furniture. Tools also we get from the plants only. Plants range from very small green planktons in the sea to huge coniferous tree. That means what? We have variety and we have wide range of plants in respect to sizes also. Right? But the common feature of all the plants is that they all use sunlight, water, and prepare air to prepare their own food, and the process is called photosynthesis. See students, we have variety of plants, their shape, size, color, all thing is different. But the main and the common thing in all the plants is that every plant use what? Sunlight, water and air. The plants combine all these things in a manner, and with that they prepare their own food with the help of these raw materials. And this food making process of the plant is called photosynthesis. Okay, now next we have what? The topic that is structure of a leaf. Now that we have learned that plants can prepare their own food. But where do plants prepare their food? Where is the kitchen of the plant where they prepare their food? So students, we all know that leaves are the food factory of the plant, or we can say leaves are the kitchen of the plant. Okay, see, leaf is a very important part of plant. It is a food factory of a plant, as I told you, right? Now, a leaf is an outgrowth from a node on a plant stem. Okay? Leaf is what? It is an outgrowth on a plant stem. There is an outgrowth from a node where the leaf arises. They come in different shape and sizes. Leaves are of different shapes, they are of different sizes, and they are mostly green in color. Most of the leaves are green in color due to the presence of a pigment known as chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll makes the color of the green, makes the green color of the leaves, and also it helps in the process of photosynthesis. Okay, now leaves are flat to maximize their surface area for absorbing energy from sunlight and exchange gases that are used for photosynthesis. Students, you can see in this picture also, this is the broad part of the leaf. And in this broad part only, what does leaves do? They increase, or they have this flat area to maximize the surface area. So they can absorb enormous amount of sunlight, and then they can exchange the gases also, and with that only what they do, they carry out the process of photosynthesis. The lamina is an expanded portion of a leaf. This broad flat part of the leaf is known as lamina. Okay, they are flat and green. Lamina is the flat part and also green in color. Okay, next, the stalk or stem that connects the leaf to the plant is petiole. Now you can see the stalk part, okay, or the petiole part, this part. This is the stalk or the petiole part which connect this leaf to the stem or the branch of the plant, right? Next, the tip of the leaf opposite to the petiole is called apex. Okay, this part, this is the tip of the leaf which is opposite to petiole. This is called apex. Next, a midvein or midrib is running through the middle of the leaf. It is usually continuous with the petiole and there are many side veins coming from the midrib. Now what you can see, there is a midrib. This is known as midrib or midvein which is running through the middle part of the leaf. Okay, it is usually continuous along with that petiole, and through this midrib we have various or numerous side veins which are running along the surface of the leaves. Okay, now what does this vein do? These veins provide support to the leaf. The function of this vein is to provide support to the leaf. Okay, also they help to carry water from the roots to the leaves. Now another function of the vein is to what? That these carry water from the roots to the leaves, and the food prepared in the leaves is being transferred by the veins only to all different parts of the plant. Okay. Now, next is what? Take a microscope and look at the section of a leaf. If you observe a section of a leaf through a microscope, then the entire structure is going to be observed like this. Okay, you will see a number of layers of cell inside a leaf. Chlorophyll, a green pigment, is present in this cell. And the leaf looks green due to the presence of chlorophyll, as I told you. Okay, the green color of the leaf is due to the presence of a pigment, green colored pigment known as chlorophyll. And there are numerous number of chlorophyll cells inside the leaf. Okay, you can see these all are the cells containing chlorophyll. Now, chlorophyll also allows the plants to absorb energy from sunlight. Okay. So, majorly there are two functions of chlorophyll. Number one, it provides green color to the leaves, and secondly, it also helps to absorb the sunlight for the process of photosynthesis in the plants. Okay. Now, the lowest layer of cell. Now, below the layer of the cell, we have what? Many small openings which are called stomata. You can see these are stomata. Okay. Now, what is stomata? Stomata are the tiny pores which are underside of the leaves. They are protected by the guard cell. All the stomata are being guarded or being protected by the guard cell. The guard cells regulate the opening and closing of the stomata. Okay. Next, hence, they help in the exchange of gases and water vapor between the leaf and the surrounding atmosphere. Means what? We have some tiny openings under the side of the leaves known as stomata. Stomata are protected by guard cell. Okay, the opening, the closing of the stomatal pores are regulated by these guard cells only, right? And thus these stomatal pores helps in the exchange of gases and water vapor between the leaf and the surrounding atmosphere. Now, next, food process in plants. We have the topic that is food process in plants. As we all know that plants require many things to make their own food. Like what? They absorb water and nutrients from the soil. Okay, and which part of the plant absorb water and minerals from the soil? That is the roots part, right? Next, the stem then takes water and nutrients to the leaves. So, basically the water and the nutrients which is absorbed by the roots, it is then transferred to the stem, and then stem take this water and nutrients to the leaves. After that, the leaves use the energy of the sun, okay, through the chlorophyll which is present in them. That chlorophyll, what does it do? It absorbs the sun energy, it absorbs the sun rays, okay, and then they combinedly change the water and carbon dioxide into a type of sugar. Then this sugar is taken to all the different parts of the plant by the stem and the veins. Now, plants can make food in their leaves, as we all know, and chlorophyll present in the leaves changes water, carbon dioxide, and minerals into food or sugar in the presence of sunlight. So, majorly, student, what are the raw materials which are needed by the plants to prepare their food? So, you can give the answer. They need chlorophyll, water, carbon dioxide, minerals. Okay, and in the presence of all these ingredients, plants change these ingredients into food or sugar in the presence of sunlight. And this whole food making process of the plant is called photosynthesis. Okay, now photosynthesis is made with two words: photo meaning light and synthesis meaning putting together. So photosynthesis, the word is majorly made of two words, that is photo, which means light, and synthesis means putting together. So what does plant do? They put all these raw materials together in the presence of light, and then they prepare their own food. Okay, now next we have, how do plants use the food made by them? So now the food has been prepared by the plants. Now it needs to be used also by the plants. So how do plants use this food prepared by them? See, plants produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis. This we have discussed. Then they use the food for their survival and growth. So students, as we all use the food for our growth, for our survival, similarly, plants also use the food which is prepared by them for their survival and growth only. Okay, they use food to repair worn out cell. All the worn out cell of the plants are repaired by this food only. Okay, and also for the production of new cell, they use this prepared food. Plants release oxygen and absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. This is also a very important feature of the plant, that during photosynthesis process, plants absorb the carbon dioxide gas from the atmosphere. Okay, as a raw material, it uses that carbon dioxide, and then they release oxygen gas, a life supporting gas, into the atmosphere, which is then being inhaled by all the different animals, including human beings, right? Oxygen is important. Very important thing, that oxygen is important for the survival of animals and human beings on earth. So if I ask you that which gas is important for the survival of animals and human beings on the earth, then you are going to answer that is oxygen gas. And which gas is absorbed by the plant for the process of photosynthesis? Then the answer will be carbon dioxide gas. Okay? Now, extra food is stored in many parts of a plant. See, after using the required food for their different activities, for their different processes, the plants store the extra food in their different parts, like leaves, stem, and roots. Okay, and this stored food is known as starch. And we all use this starch or these parts as our food. Okay. Now, next we have food production in some unusual plants. So there are some unusual plants in which the food production process takes place in some different way. Okay, and first of all, we have what? Saprophytic plants. Now, see, saprophytic plants are the plants that live on dead and decaying organic matter. Okay, the plants which live on dead or the decaying organic matter are known as saprophytic plants. You might have seen white-brown mushrooms packed in small poly bags or growing in dark, shady places. You must have seen in the market also, we have what? White-brown mushrooms. They are packed in small poly packets, and we cook them, and then we eat them. And also you must have seen the dark shelly places. At the dark shelly places, the mushrooms growing, right? So these mushrooms are non-green plants. That means what? They do not contain chlorophyll. And because they do not contain chlorophyll, they cannot prepare their own food. Okay? Now, in the same way, you must have seen blue-green growth on a leftover piece of bread. Okay, you must have observed it also. On a leftover piece of bread, there is a kind of growth of a specific organism, which is kind of blue-green color. Okay, and these structures are known as bread molds. So both these, that is mushrooms and bread molds, they belong to the group of plants which are called fungi. Okay, and fungi are also called heterotrophs. Okay, then fungi grow and get food from the rotting material. So all this special group of plant known as fungi, they grow and they get food from the rotting materials, rotting feed materials. Okay, so if I ask you that bread molds belongs to which group of plant or which group of uh, special structure, so you are going to answer that is fungi. Okay, what else name the fungi have? That is heterotrophs. Okay, now you can see in this picture also, these are molds, these are mushrooms, and these are fungi. This mold and mushroom belong to this category only, which is fungi. Now, some plants like croton have colorful leaves. So now there is another type of plant named as croton which have colorful leaves. Okay, they have green pigments. Okay, they also have green pigments in between the red color. That means what? They do contain chlorophyll, and because they contain chlorophyll and in the presence of the sunlight, these plants can also prepare their own food. They are able to prepare their own food. Instead, they have red color on their surface. Still, they do have chlorophyll, or they do have green pigment inside that beneath that red color. Okay. Now, next we have parasitic plants. What are these plants? A parasitic plant derives its food from another living plant. So, it's also a unusual plant which derive its foods from the another living plant. Okay, example, dodder. Dodder, which is also known as a marble. Okay, you can see this is the dodder plant. Okay, it is not able to make their own food, right? Then, what does it do? It takes support from other green plants. Because it cannot prepare its own food, it takes supports from the other green plants. And for that, it develops some special roots which penetrate into the host plant. Okay, or which it gets support for their food. And the food is generally stored in the stem or the roots of the daughter plant. And after getting penetrated into the host plant for their food, it stored the food in its stem or the root part. Okay, then we have next category of plants known as desert plants. So desert plants, as the name suggests, they grow in desert. Okay, we can take the example of cactus. Cactus is a desert plant. The leaves of cactus plants are reduced to spines or thorns. So usually the desert plants or the cactus, they do not have leaves. Actually, their leaves are modified, or their leaves are reduced to spines or thorns. Okay, and their stem is the only part which contain chlorophyll, and therefore the process of photosynthesis and storage of food occurs in the stem part of the desert plant. Okay, generally, cactus is found in desert area, as I told you, and in desert area, we have very less amount of water present. It's very hot climate over there. It's very kind of dry area. Okay. When there is a situation where no water can be extracted, Cactus uses the food stored in fleshy stems for its growth and survival. Okay, when there is a kind of harsh situation that there is no water available or supplied to these plants, then what does cactus do? It uses the food which was earlier stored in its fleshy stem for the growth and survival during that particular period of time. Next, we have the another plant, that is insectivorous plants. Okay, insectivorous plants also cannot make their food because they grow in the soil which is poor in minerals. So usually insectivorous plants grow in the type of soil where the content of mineral is very low, and because of that reason they are not able to prepare their own food. They do not get enough minerals from soil. Okay, because they do not get enough minerals. So, for the production of food, they require minerals, and therefore they cannot prepare their food. Hence, they trap and digest insects to get the required minerals. So, for fulfilling that required amount of minerals, they have to trap the insect and then fulfill their energy or their mineral requirement. Okay, and such type of plants are called insectivorous plants. Okay, they have given an example. This is pitcher plant. It is a type of insectivorous plant only. So, pitcher plant is an insectivorous plant. You can see its leaves take the shape of a pitcher. Okay, the leaves of the pitcher plant are modified into the shape of a pitcher, and it allows the insect to get ill but not let them out. And once an insect enters this pitcher, okay, the insect are being trapped inside that leaf, and then it is digested by all the digestive juices secreted by this plant. Okay, now next we have the relationship between plants and animals. So animals and plants depend upon each other for survival and growth. All the plants, all the animals in our nature, they are interdependent for their survival, for their growth. Animals need food to eat and oxygen to breathe. So these are the basic requirements for the animals, that what they need food to eat and they need oxygen to breathe. Okay. Now, plants provide oxygen and food for animals and human beings. So, these requirements of the animals are being fulfilled by the plants, as plants provide oxygen to breathe and also the food to eat to all the animals and the human beings. Now, plants also provide many other useful things, okay, like wood for shelter, fuel, furniture, and all these are essential for the human beings. So, now here we have discussed what? The dependency of animals on the plants. Now, similarly, plants are also dependent on the animals for their requirements. How? Plants need carbon dioxide, as we have discussed in the chapter earlier also, that they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to prepare their food during the process of photosynthesis. So, plants need carbon dioxide to prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. And these are the animals and human beings only which exhale the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is absorbed by the plants for their food production. So this is how the plants are dependent on animals. Okay, hence to maintain a balance in nature, survival of both plants and animals is necessary. Okay, so for the balance in nature, for the maintenance of nature, the survival of plant and animal both is necessary. We should participate in all essential activities to preserve and protect both plants and animals to maintain ecological balance. So we should take some measures. We should take the participation in such kind of activities where we get a chance to preserve or to protect both plants and animals, and also we could maintain ecological balance. So now children, we all are aware that plants can make their own food in the presence of sunlight, water, and chlorophyll. Without plants, there will be no possibility of life on the earth, as they provide you many useful things and oxygen gas, which is a life supporter gas. Okay, they provide you food, oxygen, and many essential things. So that's all for here. Thank you for joining me in the journey of plants.